Testing, testing. Can we hear us, Charlie? Can you hear us, Charlie? I don't know. Can people out there hear me? They probably can, but they've got no way of telling me. Welcome all to the Queen's Club. Fine Monday evening here in London for the British Open 2018 final. I've just been told by my esteemed co-commentator, Nikki Howe. Evening, Nikki.
Evening, Jed. Thanks for inviting me to commentate tonight.
Not a problem. You've just told me that these guys are most of the way through their warm-up here, and
they've warmed up both sides, and it's only a matter of minutes before the warm-up's finished and play will get underway. You can see everyone starting to take their seats down the galleries now.
Yeah. Of course, for most of you watching, probably they don't need introduction, but here we go. Currently at the hazard end, picking up balls. Number 2 seed for this tournament, playing the Australian, albeit playing out of the Royal
Anyone
Tennis
up
Court.
there that can test for me?
Palace, Chris Chapman. He's just disappeared, just as I introduced him. And why don't you introduce the other guy to us, Nikki?
Well, this man needs no introduction. His record is quite incredible, but yeah, Rob Fahey's done it again, made another final. Tonight's a big one. It could be, not only for a lot of players, this is the biggest major. If he wins tonight, it'll be his 50th Open singles title, which will be quite an achievement.
It's just astounding, isn't it? Yep, 50 of them.
And if you win 5, that's remarkable. 50 is just, it's hard to fathom.
So Rob's our number 1 seed. Partly to do with the absence of world number 1 Camden Riviere. Hello to Camden and his folks that are probably tuning in. But this was the first tournament, Nikki, for a little while. It seemed like there was a good chance of pretty much anybody making it out of the quarters into this match.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, missing the number 1, obviously, in his dominance over the last few years, several years actually, has made it quite an open tournament with most of the top 8 players having beaten each other. So it made it quite exciting. I mean, we even had John Lumley coming in unseeded, who is currently the RTPA champion, won the tournament right before this one.
Yeah, absolutely, that was a quirk of scheduling, but everyone was fine with it ultimately. And you know,
testing 1 2 3. Yeah.
So we had one of the finalists tonight, Chris Chapman, number 2 seed. He had a properly tough go in the round of 16, in fact, against Matthew Sarlong.
He had a big scare. He definitely looked like going to 5 sets. He was, I believe, the first set and a half. Mathieu won the first set quite comfortably and was quite up in the second set before Chris's skill and experience came back and won that set. But in the fourth set, he found himself 5-3 down. But being a top player and now an Open champion, he found a way to dig deep and take the fourth set and not let it go to a 5th.
I think I'm pretty sure that Sarlong had at least 1 set point there, but
he did have one,
at least one. At least one, yeah.
I think 2 actually,
and
if I recall.
And along the same lines, I think Fahey would have to count himself extremely lucky to be in tonight's final, by virtue of his performance, or moreover Ben Taylor Matthews' performance in that semi-final.
I mean, heartbreaking for Ben, that one, to be so close and to end up going to losing the 5th set 6-5. He played some brilliant tennis. I don't really feel Ben did a lot wrong or threw it away. Rob, when the chips were down, just his game stepped up and just played immaculate tennis and really didn't give Ben much room. It was quite incredible what Rob did to pull off that victory, and you do have to feel for the Brit. But he'll be back again, Ben. He's such a good player, and you can see him making a final here very soon.
Yeah, I saw him not long after, literally minutes after that match, and he was looking at social media on his phone and was pretty philosophical and almost like he'd already forgotten about it. It's tough to say that he could have, but I guess the only way to do that is to move on as quickly as you can. Okay, it looks like we're going to get an introduction from the players from our esteemed marker. Maybe one or two more because they're still trying to get people to sit down, I think. But our marker, I don't know how many of these in a row that he's done, at least of the singles titles, but singles championships. But Drew Marker changed his name. Drew Lyons is again our marker this evening for this what should be a great final, Nicky.
Oh, absolutely. These two of the last 4 years have had some great battles on the court. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes tonight. I'm sure Rob, if he can win tonight, would like to make it quick, but it's going to be a very close match. I am not picking a winner tonight.
I was hoping to get back on the chat again so that I could prevent you from asking me for a prediction, but since you didn't ask me for a prediction, I won't ask you for one. We can say though that Chappers has had the pretty much the wood over the current singles world champion Fahey in recent times, but there was a National League match literally a couple of days ago, 10 or 15 days ago, that was very one-sided in Rob's favour. So, you know, I don't think that either of those players will be putting much stock in a two-set shootout.
No, they won't be thinking about it tonight. And it was one juice 40.
Please take your seats. Thank you.
Chris lost quite a few of those. Just a one-point shootout when they're playing like that. But
okay.
Looks like we're about to get underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Queen's Club for the 2018 British Open Singles Final. Before I introduce the players, can I ask you to switch off your phones and no flash photography, and please keep still during the ball in play. Thank you. At the receiving end, please welcome the number 2 seed. His name is Chris Chapman. Service end, please welcome the number 1 seed and current singles world champion. His name is Rob Fahey.
I think Drew's going for the quick introductions tonight.
He could be in for a long
This
night.
match is the best of 5 6-game sets. Players are ready. Level.
We'll see a few of those tonight, Nicky.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to slow the game down.
Last gallery.
Two returns a serve onto the back wall there from Chapman so far, but early stages.
Gallery in the door.
So, Nicky, there's a slight elephant in the room, as I see it, and that is that we were talking about the amount of opens that this might represent to Rob tonight. But we should acknowledge the fact that Chris Chapman won the French Open, his maiden Open Championship, just a couple of months ago. Now, he did that against Ben Taylor Matthews, who we know obviously quality player. But do you think that playing Rob in an Open final is going to be a greater challenge to him than that was in Paris?
It's going to be a great challenge, one purely with the experience Rob brings, but also he is world champion and was world champion on this court 4 months ago. So we got 15 all, 2 chases. Lovely shot there from Chris.
30-15, chase the door.
First game goes to Chris.
First game, server. Receiver.
So, Nikki, that's a yes, is it? You feel as though that if Chappers thinks about it, that the magnitude of his task, if he's playing Rob, might have some bearing on this match.
Yes, I don't think Chris will be thinking that, but I do think
doesn't want to think.
He won't be. He will definitely be keeping it at the back of his mind. But that is something Rob can draw on. Going, I'm the world champion, and I'll beat the world #1 on this court in 4 months.
Yeah, I think that plays a factor in a lot of Rob's matches, but they have to be close in the first place for him to use that experience.
Game server, 1 game all.
Great force.
It's a good shot to get going early, isn't it? And I think that shot there will play a big part in tonight from both players. I don't think Fahey can get it back across to that one like he used to.
Great serve from Rob there.
15 all.
Tying Chappie up.
Interesting choice there from
15.
Chappers.
Don't think he needed to play there. I think it was going to be a foul.
I think it was a conscious choice, but a dubious one. It'd be interesting to know what stats would say about the earlier part of Rob's career when he was hugely successful and winning Grand Slam after Grand Slam, but whether he was actually a bona fide good starter or whether he was just better than everyone and so it looked like he was a good starter. Do you know what I mean? So
No, I know what you mean. It's a good question, but I don't have an answer.
I think in the latter part of his career he's been a slower starter, world championship matches and even
30-15,
matches
chase
like
Igar.
this. Almost taking a half a set or so to get into things.
Chase.
And very server dominated so far this match. Unsurprisingly.
Juicy. You say unsurprisingly, this is a court known for being a hard court server. But I think they both started out very tight with their serves, their high sidewalls.
That's a great shot there. High point of the net.
Juice.
You're not bad at that shot, Nicky.
Every now and then. They have advantage, Rob, and a chase.
So, Nicky, how about you? You had what's your thought? What are your thoughts going to be looking back at this tournament? You had the obviously. Well, it's tough on both of you, really, wasn't it? Having to play John Lumley in there and that Wednesday night in the round of 16. Lost the first set.
Serves advantage.
Remind me.
Chase.
Lost first
4.
set 6-5.
Almost didn't.
Well played from Rob there.
Lost the chase and the game.
Yeah, controlled the point nicely. Yeah.
Rob goes 2 games to 1 up. Yeah, I was very, very happy being
Server leads by 2
fast
games
player
to
like
1.
John and the current RTPA champion. As you say, it's a very, very tough first round match to have. Technically second round, but my first round.
Gallery.
Yeah, from the way I looked at it, Nicky, you changed a number of things. I won't get you to give away all the trade secrets, but you changed a number of things from that tournament at Leamington a couple of weeks earlier.
Oh yeah, I mean after losing to John, fortunately it was on YouTube, so I was able to have a look at things that I thought John was doing well, and things that I didn't think I was doing well, and I had good few weeks to double fault from there from Rob.
15 love.
It's not like Rob. So yeah, I had a few weeks to prepare and come up with a game plan that would be able to give me a victory against John.
And in a sense, not to dredge it up, but in a sense you're in a good place to tell us how one of the competitors here tonight is playing. You got 2 tough matches in a row, didn't you? You got to play John and then Rob.
Yeah, the thing with the way the draw had come out, yeah, it was tough. I had the best player not to be seeded and then the number 1 seed. I didn't look into my match against Rob. I was only focusing on John until after. Great shot from Rob there. 15-0.
Chappers will want to be careful about leaving those out short like that one was. It's a bit like Christmas, that one for Rob, isn't it?
15.
That's
Rob telling himself he should have gone backhand corner there, I think.
Let's agree with him, shall we?
Yeah. It's a great volley.
So did you feel Rob was sort of on it, playing near his best, or was it more to do with your recovery time, lack of specific preparation for the match you felt?
I honestly felt it was, for me, it was tough to get going, but I felt Rob was on. It was so hard to serve from him, and almost anything I served, he was just finding a dead on. Like that.
Like that.
Force it. But he actually served incredibly tightly. If he wasn't getting his high side wall going, he had these clever short serves that were catching me out. It wasn't until the first set that I started to feel like I was getting my teeth into it, and I felt a couple of things didn't go my way at important times, but it was a lot closer in the scoreline. But Rob was fantastic at the end of the day, beaten by a much better player. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. When was the last time you played Chappers, do you recall?
Yeah.
Sorry to bring it.
Aussie Open semi-final.
Yes.
6-5.
Oh yes. Yes.
Thanks for bringing that one up.
I was. If I'd cast my mind back a bit better,
30-40
if I wasn't so old
leads,
and
Chase
senile, then I
second
might have come
gallery.
up with that. But so yeah, what you're effectively saying is these players are pretty evenly matched.
Yeah. These two have great battles, and I think we're definitely in for a great final tonight.
Don't jinx it.
Game point, Chappy here.
Well, Rob was aiming for that, aiming deliberately to miss the timbre there, and because he knew that.
Brings up juice now.
And so what's next? You go home. You go home in inverted commas back to the States for Thanksgiving this week. Happy Thanksgiving, I suppose, to all the American listeners.
Last gallery juice.
Chappy finding the galleries, want to get on the server side with the score being juice. Yeah, Thanksgiving, I get back the day before. Apparently it's going to be one of the coldest Thanksgivings ever, so I'm not looking forward to it too much. Rob's got the advantage now.
Advantage, last gallery.
Is that right? It's going properly. Is it a storm or is it just? Did they just
It's
predict
not a
them?
storm. We just had a storm, but just temperature at night is going to drop to something around 12 degrees, which in Fahrenheit, so in Celsius.
It's scary low.
It's very, very cold in Celsius.
I tell you, there'll still be people taking off their shirts at Foxborough for the Patriots.
Advantage receiver, chase the last gallery.
So we've got last gallery here and advantage to Rob, and 2 games to 1 to Rob. First set. Chappie calling a stroke on himself there. He's always been a very honest and sporting player.
Top drawer in that respect.
Oh, brilliant serve. Some might call that karma. Rob pumping himself up there with a come on.
Oh, where were you, chappers? No, obviously, an apologetic hand being held up there by Rob. It's one of the vagaries of our game. I've yet to see one of those come in at a really important time in a big match.
I'm sure it's probably happened.
It probably has. Probably back in like 1700s, and two French guys were swearing at each other in
Early on in the first set, it's okay.
Service advantage,
Deep into
chase
the match,
worse than
it
2.
hurts a lot more a bounce like that going against you. So we got advantage Rob, worse than 2 I believe Drew called.
It's turning into an important game, this one.
Lost the chase in the game.
Chappie overhearing that one, and Rob goes 3-1 out.
3 games to 1.
Great
Brilliant
get
from Rob.
Yeah. Great get from Rob.
It's worth the
Sensational
yard.
backhand volley from Chris there.
Sort of
15 up.
a sidewall nick there. So why don't we say a full and proper hello to all the American watchers. There may not be as many as other years, with this being an all-Australian final.
Hopefully there's a few Aussies watching then.
Yeah, what time is it? It's like 5 o'clock in the morning in Aussie land, isn't it? There will be.
Hopefully having a nice latte or flat white or something. Australia does so well.
Probably not at a cafe at this point. Probably at home, I suspect, under the doona.
So we're changing ends. Chappie's got the serve, 30-15 up, and 2 very good chases. I think both worse than 1 or around there. So Rob will do well to stop Chappie from winning this game at the moment.
He was pretty dogged in that Taylor Matthews match. There was seemingly there wasn't a game that went either of the players' direction without some sort of contest.
That's why you don't predict anything.
Wow.
I do recall your prediction that 4 love then you called it. I was listening. It's a great serve from Chris there.
Moral victory for Rob getting it back, I think. Decent confidence builder there for Chappers.
Game server,
a funny game. No, I have to correct you there, Nikki. What I was saying was I was asking my co-commentator at the time whether she felt at 4 Love that there was a fat lady around somewhere.
15 up.
If you say so, I'll take your word for it, but my recollection's a little different.
You've got your story. I got the truth.
I was enjoying listening as well as watching the match. I apologise if I'm wrong.
I didn't say that either.
So you've got 30 left here.
And what was that? What was that foray up the court there to last gallery in that a couple of points ago? What did you feel that was about for Chappers?
How's that come over? Wow. Well done, Chris. I think he thought Rob was going to hit a cut volley and he thought he would quickly sneak up the court and cut it off, but Rob actually hit a 4, so caught Chris out on that one.
So not necessarily a strategy he's going to go with the whole time, but just when and if.
Yeah. Rob had been fizzing in quite a few cut volleys and he thought he could catch him out, but the experience of Rob caught Chris out this time. The old master.
Serve leads 30 love.
The old
Second
dog.
gallery.
Second gallery.
Love, hazard chase,
Fist pump there from Rob, I think.
That was big to be 40 love as opposed to 15-30 with a hazard chase he has to defend. It's hard to serve tight here, so I don't know what the percentage of winning hazards are, but for the receiver, but they've got to be pretty high on this court.
Game server.
Rob goes 4-2 up.
Server leads 4 games to 2. First set.
Love game, a rarity at this level. So Nikki, there's a couple of important moments going on right now. Do you think that Chappers is questioning his game plan already?
I don't think yet. I mean, the set's not over. It's too early to tell. I think it's. Great point. If he loses a set and starts going down heavily in the second, then you'll start thinking about changing the game plan.
Plan B, maybe.
No.
Rob thinking that was down and Drew called that a stroke.
See, that kind of shot is more what I associate with Chappers. Positive, one way or the other, whether it's line and length into corners or just playing aggressive like that.
For sure.
And I feel sorry for you because if you ask me a question about deep analysis of the game or strategy and whatever, I'm just going to answer that I don't know because but sorry, you're in the position where I get to ask you all the difficult questions. Now what I was going to ask was how much of a plan B do you have for a Rob or a Chappers, or do you put a lot of your eggs in one basket with the original game plan?
You do concentrate a lot on having your main game plan, but you do have some backups if certain things aren't working and they're doing well. You need to
I feel a bit sorry for Chappers there.
you had to stop during that point. That's a great backhand. Just try and switch on in your favour. You have to if it's completely against you.
That's usually a serve or a return a serve plan or something.
Yes, from there. Yeah, absolutely. So we've got 30 all here. 4-2 Rob, so it's an important game.
Quite a big game, yeah. Point, in fact. Rob's pretty happy that one went to fault. We're not playing in France.
That's right, you get a pass. Another go. Rob wanted to get out of that very quickly with the gallery. Good shot there.
Yeah, it's sort of it's a bit sickening for the more modest level players like myself, Nicky, that you top guys seem to have, when you see the ball going towards the timbre, you almost look down the court to see whether you think your opponent's going to get it underneath the last gallery and down there, and if you think they are, you just flick it into the gallery, so there's no risk there. So you almost choose off what you're doing off the timbre, where the rest of us are just happy to hit it.
I mean, all the top players these days are so good off the timbre. If they read it well and you've hit it, it can be a disadvantage. So game point here, 40-30, second gallery.
Memory's better than mine, Nicky.
Unfortunate bounce for Rob there.
No effort from Rob there.
Chappie just disguised it too well. I'd be surprised if anyone could have read that. Clever shot.
What do you do then if you feel the ball is going to come deeper than, say, last gallery? Do you try to get up and at least go for a stroke, or are you...
Gets the advantage. If I can get to it, you always try.
I was on semi-finals days. I was observing the fact that there is occasions when, from the hazard end, you hit a good shot, and your opponent just gets the ball back in, maybe off the frame or whatever. For them, suddenly it becomes quite a good shot. Yeah, because you having hit the good shot, properly good shot, now dealing with the ball, which is, you don't know how it's being hit. It's got not pace to deal with.
Worse than 6, advantage Rob. It's another tiny serve. Well played for Chris there.
It's not super easy to hit a clean winner off one of those slow balls, is it?
Service advantage.
Chris will be disappointed with that miss.
Particularly
Back to
after
Juice.
all that effort getting up there.
Yeah. He read it well.
second gallery. Juice.
So the crowd's pretty evenly split tonight in support of both players.
It always looked like it was going to be so close enough.
Beautifully. So advantage Chris in the second gallery. 4-2.
So in fact, Nikki, I was getting ahead of myself, wasn't I, to say that Thanksgiving's the next thing on your agenda, because in fact you're going to be part of the match tomorrow night, aren't you?
That is correct, and part of the All-Australian doubles final.
It's
And an All-Australian singles final.
Second
You're doing
gallery.
alright, the old Aussies.
Yeah, not bad.
Great railroad from Rob.
Rob was implying it was a bad bounce, but I think he just looked up and saw his man there and tried to hit a better shot than he needed to.
So 3-4.
So your partner tomorrow night is going to be the man who's serving right now.
Pretty good partner to have. Just noticed Rob's changed his tactics with his serve. He's started with a railroad this game. Where it's been predominantly high side walls and then those little either demi PKs or bobbles. Rob giving himself a big fist pump there.
I think that was a wind-up, actually. It wasn't the greatest serve that he's done. There's important chances going missing here for Chapman. By no means fatal at this stage, but you give Fahey a sort of a whiff of something and he'll be off after it quite happily.
Leads 40 love, chasing yard better, second gallery.
Great defence from Chappie there.
It's a good shot, that one, isn't it?
15-40.
It's almost meets it behind his body and just slams it into that main wall.
It's a hard shot. It's one I don't have.
You need a strong, strong wrist, mate. Tell us, Nikki, if people
30-40.
tune in here at the same place tomorrow night, who will you be playing after this point?
Wow, Chappie saved 3 game points there. 40 love, back to deuce. My opponents will be Chris Chapman and Steve Vigona.
Surrey, Essex, Rhode Island, Illinois, right?
Good knowledge. So we're going over with 2 chases and deuce. And 4-3 to Rob. First set. It's starting to turn into a long first set, Jed.
That's right. Thanksgiving, Christmas, then there's a World Doubles Championship, I believe, in Hobart. Is that right?
In Hobart, yes, your hometown, I believe.
It is. Hello, everyone. Anyone listening down there?
Looking
And in
forward to
Melbourne
that.
and Sydney and the rest of Australia as well.
Right, deuce, worse than last.
Luck.
A bit of fortune going to Chris. Is that
Advantage
way
receiver.
on point?
Was that going to win the
Chase
chase,
half a
or was
yard.
that chase off? He had to hit it one way or the other, but
I think he had to hit it. So, what got worse than one here?
I think Chapman is winding up already.
Off the chase, deuce.
Well, he got the rub of the green on the rub of the green on the top of the net for the first one, and then not on that one.
Chase 4, deuce.
Doesn't miss those too often.
He had just had a sneaky look. He might have seen he didn't need to hit it that hard as Chris went to cover winning gallery.
It's almost like Chris earned that result.
We've got deuce now. 4 yards is the first chase, if I recall.
Deuce,
So are
chase
you going to
4.
Hobart, Nikki, at this moment?
Yep, I've entered with Rob, so
Oh, brilliant.
looking forward to that. Here we go, 4 yards.
Serves advantage. Hazard worse than
Pretty
2.
good serve, but I think Rob will be disappointed with that.
It's a great stroke on a hazard chase.
It's not like he's just practiced a whole bunch of those. Saw the opportunity cross court.
Well played from Chris. 4 games all. Rob was 40 love up in that game. That's a big game. Almost feels like 2 games for Chris there.
No, great.
D-Love.
good tennis there.
Second gallery, 15 love.
Rob wanting the ball off the court there, but he wasn't happy with the bounce, but that's
Could
a
be
really
any
good
number of
cut
things,
shot
right?
from Chris there.
Yeah.
He's got 30-15 Rob there. Both has worked well for Chris tonight. So again, another big point for all, 30 all.
If you are just joining us here at the Queen's Club on this feed, and joined by my co-commentator Nikki Howe, and we're very finely poised here in this match. First set, 4 games all. Fahey probably feel as though he could have got to 5-3 in this set, but Chapman held firm and 4 all, and a couple of chases, I think, Nikki.
Yep, I think first one second gallery, and around 4 or 5 yards is the second one.
30 all, second gallery. Second gallery.
Exceptional play.
Well held and
Game is even, 5 games to 4.
Yep, you heard correctly, 5-4 from 2-4 down.
that was well picked up from Rob. Yeah. That was stuck against the wall.
Second
Yeah.
gallery.
There was not much reaction that didn't go in the winning gallery because he knew it was just bang against the wall there.
Up.
I think Chapman was distracted. He'll give him 2 serves here, probably. Yep, he will.
How's it saying?
So, Nikki, playing with Rob, you played a number of tournaments. I think this last season together with him in doubles. Do you feel as though that you get little bits of knowledge and some of his experience rubs off whilst you're playing, or is doubles being such a dramatically different game mean that there's a limit to what you can sort of
You
glean from?
definitely get to experience, his mindset under pressure situations, and how he thinks. So, yeah, some priceless information and feedback I'm getting from Rob. It's a brilliant cover.
He meant that, didn't he?
15 all, worse than 4. Chase for worse than 5, 30-15.
Very,
Rob overhitting that one.
very uncharacteristic, particularly in this pressure moment where he's typically very good. It's just such a good shot. How do you defend that shot? It doesn't matter who hits it. It's like it's such a good shot. You kind of wonder why people aren't looking to do it more often.
If you notice there, Chris went to cover the main wall, so if you go over to cover that post, it's tough to cover the main wall, and it is a pretty hard shot to get it that much pace right in the corner without being able to get to it. Big point there.
Just held up a little bit on him, did it, that one?
It did, but Rob read it well off the timbre. Just the ball before. I thought Chris had him for a second, and shouldn't have doubted the old master. He read it beautifully. We got 40-30, last gallery. 40-30 Rob.
To bring us to 5-all potentially, yeah.
Set.
Server leads 40-30, Chase the last gallery.
Good shot from Chris.
Great shot.
Second gallery, G.
It's great discipline there. I think I'd be looking for a short chase, and I'll probably be proven wrong.
Brings out the first set point. Of this match, sorry. Advantage Chris in second gallery, I think.
Interesting time to check his watch there, Chappers. Maybe he's keeping stats and stuff.
Service advantage, second gallery.
I think this is back to deuce. If you're a betting man, you'd say back to deuce. No argument from Chappers. Must have been there. Well, even if he got it, he wouldn't have argued.
Advantage, receiver.
Rob finding the neck off the back ball there, getting it to roll.
Holds his hands up in apology there. He's not really sorry though.
Another great serve from Chris.
Use.
Come on, I've given you puffball questions thus far. Who wins this set, Nikki? Come on.
Tell you at the end of the set.
That's a puffball answer, mate.
Being a fellow competitor in the tournament with these guys, I'm just going to stay impartial. Have to get someone else, not in the tournament.
You ain't in the singles tournament anymore.
Still have to see these guys at every tournament, and I'm sure
They'll be listening back.
Yeah.
But they're not going to hold it against you if you think with it.
maybe not. But it's better to be when you're on tour with these guys, not to give your opinion publicly.
Chase worse than
with
the
these
door.
top players.
Remember the chase, Nikki?
Worse than the door. Great shot from Chris there.
Advantage receiver, chase 1 and 2.
Another set point.
Use.
I think you're right. They start round about 6. Now Rob
Serves
has
advantage.
game point. This game's gone on for a while, actually. Feels like it.
I'm still awake, Nikki. Don't I? So I'm sure the people watching in Melbourne, obviously, with both these players having connections there.
Receiver, last gallery.
Right. Rob's advantage. Clever shot.
Very clever shot. I think Rob was maybe angling for a last gallery and realising a chase off would have been a good result there for him, but he was trumped.
That's another great serve from Chris, tying Rob up.
Advantage receiver.
Would have loved that the previous point.
And, that shot obviously more frequently seen to when playing hazard chases.
Big. There's game. 5-5. First set, 5-all.
I think it's a good reaction there from Chapman. He just went, right, okay, next game.
Yeah, no time to dwell on the last game now.
Takes the line.
He has just served that high side ball beautifully tonight so far. Chris, not giving Rob many opportunities to be aggressive.
Nikki, I've just been told there's a confused German in the dead on. I'll explain. think there are a plethora of shots in that rally that we've seen Rob miss already tonight, and sure enough, in the important game, he gets them all right.
30 love, 5-all. Interesting call that looked in here. So the accused German, I just found out, is none other than Boris Becker.
No, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know the rules. Pretty sure he thinks he's going to be thinking tennis. And he wouldn't be too far wrong, obviously. But let's stick with this, shall we, for a moment?
We got
15-30, yep.
15-30.
One chase in the bank of chase the line. 5-all, first set.
It's a push. I wouldn't want to be betting on either of them right now.
Just another tight, high sidewall. Unbelievable tonight.
Mathematically back towards Chapman now, 30-all. One very long chase.
30-all.
Sensational backhand force from Rob to bring up his first set point.
Quite deliberate. He's apologising, but for me, he deliberately looked to take some pace off of that and went for greater accuracy, knowing that Chappers was kind of committed.
Apologising. I thought he was going for it, personally. I mean, these guys know each other so well, their games so well. They've been practice partners for at least 5 years now. Rob trains with Chappie a lot, especially in World Championship years.
That's right.
Has been Chris's hitting partner. So no doubt that's helped Chris's game tremendously. So here we go, set point Rob, 40-30, chase the line.
Server leads 40-30, chase
His
the
first
line.
set point, Chappers has had one.
He's had 2 now, Chappie. First set to Rob. Big.
It's tough to know whether that stings for Chappers or not, really, because he was 4-2 down and he got it back to wherever.
As Chris takes a bathroom break, I'm going to take a bathroom break, and I believe I've got someone else.
That's all right.
Well, in for me.
Give me a moment to thank you, Nicky. Thank you for your time, and all the best of luck in Hobart and then Melbourne shortly afterwards, the Opens there.
Yeah, straight after. Going to focus on tomorrow first.
Tomorrow, yes, absolutely. Best of luck with that, and
thank you very much.
You better say hello to your folks or whatever in Australia, otherwise they won't forgive you.
If Mum and Dad are watching, I'll be surprised, but hello Mum and Dad if you're watching.
You got it in you. Your insurance policy is in place. Nicky, thanks very much.
Thank you, Jed.
You're going to be replaced by someone not nearly as able as you, but
much more experienced.
But thanks for your time anyway.
Thanks,
maybe if we're still here in 5 hours' time, you'll come back and join us again, Nicky. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Nicky. I'm not actually more experienced in every area.
Now, some of you will recognise that voice. and the answer to that is no, you're not. Joined here by Queen's Club head pro, Ben Ross.
Hey,
Hi,
Jed.
Ben. How you doing?
Yeah, good.
How many hours sleep last night?
Actually, pretty good.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50% night up on the night before, so that was an interesting set, wasn't it? Some good serving. By the time they reached the finals, these guys seem to know what they're doing here. I got an insight into.
Funnily enough.
Got an insight into Rob's training regime earlier on today. He came out, practiced some serves, worked out where to serve the giraffe from.
Mm-hmm.
His lunch was a white chocolate chip cookie.
That's super important, I hear.
I think it might be the secret.
Yep, super important. Actually, I did sneak a peek on the second day of the World Championship here in May, and with his allotted practice time prior to that very important day was he and his practice partner for the time, Ben Taylor Matthews, would literally didn't hit a ball over the net to each other. They simply stayed on the service side of the court and practiced those serves, as you were saying then. We're a marker down. I think there's a comfort break for Drew Lyons. So these two are saying that they can
just start.
plough on by themselves.
So Chris, pretty good at taking a 6-5 set, if anyone is. Rob, sometimes not so good at taking a 6-5 set.
I'd agree with that.
Server leads by 1 set to love.
In fact, in the
Second set,
semi-final,
number-
Steve Vagona pickpocketed, for want of a better term, Chappers in that semi-final for the first set.
Last gallery.
So how important would you say the serve is for this match so far?
I'll give you an answer in a moment, Ben.
Oh.
Well, I kind of said to Nicky before you, he asked me a similar question. And my response was, I'm not nearly knowledgeable enough to give you a sensible answer, and really I should be asking you those questions rather than the other way around. So, let me ask you, Ben. No, joking aside, I think these guys are both served very well, and I would say that there's more of the result is played out in the exchange after the serve and return serve for this thus far in this match. Anyway,
We just saw Rob serve 2 high serves there, both looking like high
30
drops,
numbers,
but
Super
two
leads,
both
chase the
remarkably
last
different
gallery.
as well. Trying to evoke different responses. This is a giraffe, which effectively has the underarm twist spin. You're trying to get the ball to kick way across into the court. The 2 serves Rob just served were high drops, which trying to cling to the penthouse.
15-30.
we've seen a bit more demonstrative Fahey in recent times during this tournament. Huh? Were you asking about 6-5 sets in the context of the heartbreak of losing a 6-5 set, or in the context of how many sets a player can win in a match?
No. The heartbreak of losing Chris seems fine with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Game server. First game, second set.
Chris a bit surprised when the ball arrived next to him there.
He was sort of next to me and he thought, oh, well, I may as well try.
So Chris sticking with the, it's kind of cross between a giraffe and just your normal cut high sidewall.
I'm going to recycle a few questions here for you, Ben. I asked Nicky about the fact that Chappers has broken his duck and won an open recently.
Duck's a bit of a strong term.
Strong. He won his maiden open. Okay, I rephrase. But the question was about whether winning that against Taylor Matthews, who himself hasn't won an open.
Right, so does it feel like a soft open? I think you might say that ordinarily.
If you let me finish the question, yes, whether the pressure of playing someone whose storied history is as great as Rob's might come to play on his mind at all during this match.
I don't think so, because we've seen Chris beaten Rob before. So getting the win against Rob under his belt has not been a problem. Well, it's been a problem. But he knows he can do it.
Dominating the service end of the match. Yeah, and that was Nicky's response, and I think there's been a number of times when these guys have been as practice partners on this court for.
Game receiver, 1 game
Chris
all.
is actually reasonably comfortable on this court as well.
One
He
all,
actually spends
second
quite a lot
set.
of time practicing with Bryn. Comes here probably once a fortnight, trains for a couple of hours with Bryn Friday mornings from Hampton Court. So, I heard someone saying earlier that Rob doesn't like playing at Queen's. I think I struggle with that idea. Like, he's got a pretty good record here. So.
Yeah, because if he feels like he's got the best cut volley returner serve that's ever been, then his is being equally unrewarded as other people's are, maybe by the properties of Queen's. Historically, maybe, given what a weapon in his arsenal these railroad is, he probably might like a court which is takes a railroad a little bit better.
Oh, for sure, but there's been many discussions on Rob in the most recent years, not selling the railroad so much, because basically he's got to get himself over into that forehand corner pretty damn smart after he hits it. And he doesn't feel like he wants to do that quite so much. He's been doing high serves and demi-PKs and a lot of underarm twists, which we will probably see him breaking out if he starts to go up against it later on in the third set. He did serve a railroad in the last game to a reasonable effect, and we're at the late stage of the tournament now, so the balls are actually gripping enough that someone as good as Rob can actually get them to cling down the side wall again. So
stroke.
it's not like we're not going to see
Hazard,
railroads.
second gallery.
Et voila.
If he's got an earpiece in,
Chase,
then
a yard.
he won't thank us for talking about railroad after.
And there's the underarm twist.
On the chase. 30 love. Stroke. 40 love.
Again, Rob is attributed with having served a railroad for a couple of decades, but actually that high drop that he's doing, he used to serve
Game.
against Tim Chisholm an awful lot in 2004 in the World Championships. So
2 games, 1.
2-1 Chappie.
That one that Rob's got in this set is a slightly soft game, so 2-1 seems reflective of what's happened, but so Ben, are you prepared to tell us who you were picking at the beginning of this match?
I mean, I love good tennis. I thought Rob would win 3-1. I didn't have a huge amount of foundation for that. I think Chris is as fit as we've ever seen him. I don't think he'd be offended by my saying he's carrying less weight than he was for the last couple of years, and he's just looking like a strong, bull-like athlete out here on court. He tries as hard as anyone, not just with his running, but with his actual size of swing, which is preposterous. I don't know how he hits it clean, frankly. I'm not actually sure he does, but it's a huge swing. So he's got the ability to upset, largely because of his pace, power, and he actually without question, puts more curl on the ball than anyone else, which, even if you know where it's going, it just makes you a little bit uncomfortable. And we've seen a few instances in the first set of Rob not quite being able to fully guess how far out the ball's going to come when it curls around the walls and stuff like that. And, you know, the nature of the balls is such that you can't know. So
30 love receiver lead.
What you're saying is he's in as good a position as he's ever been to be playing Rob tonight.
But I'm sick of betting against Rob.
Lost some money there.
Tournament director, I can't bet on these.
Worst 3. Second gallery.
Just clipped the post on the way through that, which is why Andrew is called the second gallery instead of the last. So Chris has a habit of hitting himself in the leg on this volley shot. I don't know if you noticed it, he did it in that last point, and he really nailed himself on a volley return.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, he's just rubbing it. He really nailed himself on a volley return the serve when I was marking one of his semis. And I asked him at the end of the point, and it caused me to come out from the net and go, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Oh, don't notice anymore these days." He's got welts on his ankles. You know.
Scar tissue and calcification of
Receiver lead.
bits and pieces.
Chase the second gallery.
Canny little shot there. 3 games to 1, I think.
3 games to 1.
If you're just joining us, Rob Fahey snagged an exceptionally close first set, 6-5. He was leading 4-2. Chapman got it back to 5. Would they leave 5-4? Only for Fahey to hang extremely tough, it has to be said, and clinch those next 2 games.
Jed, are you aware we've got Boris Becker sitting in the dead?
So I was referring to him as the confused German, yes, because I'm sure he is. It's great to have Boris, multiple Grand Slam champion. I think he won 7 or 8 Grand Slams. But to what do we owe the honour of his presence tonight?
I think it might be Anders Cohen's.
Second gallery.
Okay.
I gave a lesson to Jade Conter last week.
Second gallery.
She was pretty handy.
She's looking for a different career.
I'm hoping.
15 love. Hazard. Second gallery.
Looking pretty fluent right now.
Hit a couple of pretty convincing drills in the last 5 minutes.
Second gallery, 15.
It's a shot Rob seems to have developed for the World Championships, and he's using in this final as well. The hooded sweep of his force.
had a hand free, I'd be clapping, but I don't. So
Just some unbelievable gets from Rob there.
30-15.
well, both of them really. But
Chappie's finish was actually ridiculous and probably underappreciated. So
Second gallery.
certainly stepped it up a notch for that rally, didn't they? That was exciting. People have been saying that the high serving can get a little monotonous, but if you have it all the time, bear in mind these guys have actually served a various number of different high serves, and the baseball fans out there will notice when they're doing things differently with different amount of heights and spins and lengths on the ball, there've been a various number of different serves as well. But the thing about the high serve is, as long as it takes, it does evoke
30-15
different
receiver.
responses and rallies, whereas
Second
the
gallery.
roads tend to kind of produce one of two things and so on. Really good get from Rob there.
30 all, chase 4.
still proving quite quick when he needed to.
Two wonderful recoveries from Chris there.
40-30.
Great get from Chappers, being able to stop his body weight, but
Game to server, 2 games to 3.
I'm trying to work out who the screamer is on Rob's team.
Second gallery. Score 15 up.
Rob's backhand drag, he tends to try that about once a set. Has a bit of fun with it. That's why I'm practicing it early. It's like, I'm not going to do this too often today.
Second gallery, last gallery.
solely for the purpose of a change up and give a different view to opponent.
No, he just likes to entertain, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What has some strategic importance, presumably.
I mean, ostensibly the drag should be quite a good serve on this penthouse because you have this slight ripple. I mean, it's nothing like the ski jump at Holyport, but the ripple around the winning gallery makes a little bit hard to work out if that ball's going to bounce again.
Hello to everyone at Holyport, and there's nothing wrong with the ski jump there.
It's preposterous. What doesn't work so much is
15 love receiver leads. Second gallery.
second gallery.
15 love receiver, second gallery.
It's been speaking about what works well or doesn't work well, that's been working very well for Chappers. Served that.
Last gallery.
Unlucky not to have won the first set with at least a couple of those served at crucial times.
On the chase. 30-15 receiver.
When I first got here, Rob said to me, "Oh, it's great you're at Queen's. That's fantastic. Can you fix the penthouse, please?"
That was his congratulations for your appointment, was it? I think so.
Again, Chappie following through into his leg, but happy to take the winning gallery at the same time.
I missed that.
I think he's worked out it doesn't make sense to jump every time he swings, so he just takes it like any true Aussie.
don't like where you're going with that.
Now that's what we call a legal racket throw.
Difficult to say it has been coming, but it might would have been coming.
And for all those people watching who think that high serves don't lead to entertaining tennis, whilst not only do I disagree, try going to France. Because there, you get a pass if it goes beyond the fault line, and you get to do it 4 times a point if you want to.
It has been mentioned.
Yeah. C'est ridiculeux. Love the French there.
Game server.
Am I right in saying that it really should have been Fahey's game and some-handed 4-2. A set to Fahey and 4-2 to Chapman right now. And a Marcel Marceau right then.
Chris's second shot a little bit too cute in front of the table.
So Ben, in Australia we call them suppositories, but everywhere else they're called repositories of information. You are one repository of information. Interested to know if you've done any kind of like in your head type sort of analysis of how much the first 3 or 4 shots of a point dictate the outcome of it.
No strokes, chase.
It is a thing I tend to do. I haven't actually been doing it for this match, but I mean, at this level. Talk about it in a second. I don't too. It's a
sensational shot.
Local shot of Chris's is the cut force. Not many of the other players elect to do that, but he's choosing accuracy over power.
Pretty good point.
I think if you look at Chris 2 years ago and playing Cameron Vieira in the final, where you felt like his shot selection was a little limited. Against Rob, he really does like to create different shots, hold it for them to come back. So he's doing well with that.
Say it again, a little what?
Gallery 15-all.
We're definitely seeing a move from Chris to try and hit the galleries as often as he can. For those of you who don't know, in real tennis it's kind of the opposite of lawn tennis. You're trying to contain your opponent with the serve because they have the advantage on the first strike. The receivers have the advantage. They really have to do something with that first ball, because if they don't, they're then down for the point. So what happens in the first 2 shots is the big deal in tennis. My dad and his contemporaries spent quite a long time trying to work out, should you actually on return of serve just hit a gallery whenever you can? And it was a genuine question, and they researched it and they looked into it and they tried to work it out, and the conclusion Dad came to is pretty much no, you should be able to do a little bit more. You should be able to force a shorter chase, get some racket errors, all that kind of stuff.
On the balance.
On the balance.
Try to do a bit more.
Try to do a bit more, but once that ball came back, you're looking for guarantees.
Drive it straight away. Yeah, exactly.
And it's easy to lose track of that when you're hemorrhaging points from the receiver's side.
Well, and if your opponent is serving well enough.
Takes off.
The caveat to that little paragraph is that if you're a lefty, like Howard Angus and Steve and Camden, there's more of a suggestion that maybe you should be trying to hit the galleries with the first point.
Takes off.
Rob once more.
Yeah.
30-15 receiver.
He'll take a chase off there probably. No, not really. He would prefer the last gallery, but he wasn't upset. So if anybody's listening out there and their pro's been telling them to hit the galleries frequently, their pro's still not wrong effectively. I feel as though Rob seems to benefit from the untidy points more so than Chapman does.
Well, Rob doesn't tend to create as many loose balls as other people. You're going to more often see Rob thunder a ball into the top of the net than you are going to see him spray a penthouse. He's more likely to, it's like it's something he's managed with his force. He'll hit the top of the net far more often than he gives you a loose ball that you can put away. So yeah, he does tend to finish that kind of stuff off, where other people don't have that opportunity. I'll tell you something I've been noticing is
40-15, chase the second gallery.
Chris has an unusual bobble that he kind of semi-cuts and draws across, as opposed to just hits flat or top spins like other people do. Ooh.
I think that's right though. Definitely went in early.
3 games to 4.
Funny enough, the netting around the post is actually a little bit loose, so the ball can miss the post by about an inch and still be in.
100% know what you're saying. There's a fine margin of error, Rob, to get over the net and below the galleries there, but he managed to thread the eye of the needle there.
15 up.
And it's important times right now. Chappers was handsomely at 4-2 and is now only got a 1-game lead.
Last gallery, 15 up.
That's an important point, an important stage of the set, second set.
Love. Last gallery.
Yeah, Chris, when he loses points like that, really needs to calm down. The show of emotion is outrageous.
I will say this though, I watched the Chapman v Vaguna eliminator match at RTC earlier this year.
Yeah, that was a bit heartbreaking for Chris, actually.
But it's he's come light years since then. Just in, yeah, he didn't play particularly well on that
I don't
evening.
think he's expected to lose 5-0 on his own court.
No, absolutely not. But in terms of just the way that he accepts situations in matches, I mean, I know there's a huge burden of pressure in that. We're going to talk over this point because it's 40 love to Rob, isn't it?
15-40.
Okay, now we'll shut them. Part of the reason I say that is because obviously the results have come to him since then. You know, a degree of dominance over Vagona.
That was the first unusually scrappy point we've had for quite a while. A weak return from Rob, strange error from Chris. Won't be seeing much more of that.
People thought the point was over.
And I think people are just drunk up here.
It's going a little bit pear-shaped with Chapman in the last 3 games or so. There's got to be more certain for mine.
It's not like he's doing anything massively wrong. It was an unusual backhand error for him, and he did miss one on the floor earlier on. But the problem with playing against Rob, at this point you start to appreciate just how tight Chris has kept it. Because when you have a loose game, Rob just jumps on you. So it's more a testament to how tight he's kept the last couple of sets, as opposed to.
No, and there was this contention that if you were like Chappers, where you play every point very, very hard. But interesting point. But if you could be seemingly like Rob is, where he applies his focus only as he seems to sort of at times when he wants to, and still doesn't get too far behind on the scoreboard, which situation would you prefer to be in?
See, it's interesting. I'd love Rob to tell me that I'm wrong about this, but Chris put a huge amount of curl on the ball, and Rob's expecting it the side ball first, and he hit the back ball first, and straightened up by virtue of the amount of curl that was on the ball, and as such clung to the main wall. And Rob seemed a little bit surprised at what happened. Now Rob reads the ball like many people, but again, Chris puts so much.
There's definite theatre. I don't think there's definite theatre in his some of his demonstrative behaviour. But he was 40 love up in this game, and now he finds himself at deuce. So, a crucial game that too. I want to talk to you about the boast from the hazard end when
Rob picked that one out because he saw that one coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
what I should point out is that Rob picked it out, Chris hit it, Chris still won a point. Like, even with Rob picking it out, it's not necessarily the wrong thing to do. That's what I'm saying. He has had a fair amount of mileage from that shot.
So you're talking about Chappers or?
Chappers hitting a fat post into Rob's backhand. Yeah.
Well, they've both done it to each other.
Very nice. Again, both these guys powerful, strong, and good enough that if you hit a serve that low that you're trying to get way up into the lights, it's just going to get crushed one way or another. I'm not sure Chris quite did what he meant to do with it either, but it's still too easy a ball.
So at this stage of the set, I actually asked my previous co-commentator to pick who he thought was going to win the set, and he gave us some guff excuse about having to play against these guys. But since you're not playing against these guys, who do you think is going to win this set? There we go. Nikki, it wasn't so difficult, mate. Some Spider-Man antics there from Chapman, but all for now, unfortunately.
Incredibly calm backhand from Chris in that position there. Jammed up against the wall. It's quite noticeable that none of Chris's serves go ridiculously high that often. Like, often they're just a little bit too low in the air and Rob can have a bit too much room.
There was a time in his career it was a bit binary. Either it was too short, in inverted commas, and he would cut volley in that corner, or he would do as he did then, along off the back wall and lay more dead on. Good cut there. Come on, Chappers, get this to 5-all.
Good serves there. You don't want to serve a bobble halfway up the court, really, against Rob. Again, I'm slightly perplexed by this bobble that he hits slightly with a vague inside-out underarm to a spin. I mean, I'm exaggerating what he does, but it's just slightly unusual to see. Watch this one. Here we go. He's going to do a little bobble. And he's going to drag from right to left across it ever so slightly.
Sound like a demi.
Oh, is that up? Goodness. Okay. Yeah. So
No, definitely stroke.
because he's dragging right to left, he's effectively the ball's kind of jumping to the right off the penthouse, and it's I don't know. I'm impressed if he can gain control over that, and if his last two bobbles are anything to go by, he just hit two woefully short bobbles that Rob has put away. So, I mean, it might just be nerves, but.
So here we go, sorry to interrupt, but we're in a very familiar sort of situation where Rob has
am I standing
dug
too
in.
close to you again?
Chase, game, and
Dug
the
in
second
very
set.
hard, and he's rewarded himself in a ways with the set.
Right, well, I'm going to quickly go and say goodnight to my kids and put them to bed, and I'll be back in about 10 minutes. I might go and grab Lachlan Ducar to commentate with you.
If he's here, that would be very special.
Although there's a few too many Australians just generally in the club at the moment. What is the collective
He almost
term for
doesn't.
Australians?
He almost doesn't qualify as a muddle.
Bolus?
I don't know what bolus means, but I'm sure if I go to Google, I find it's some horrible medical term. So seemingly familiar territory in ways that it didn't look like that Fahey had the rub of that set, but he ends up with it in his pocket. 6-5, 6-4 to him currently.
Thank you. Take your seats.
Chapman won't go away easy, but it's a mountain to climb now.
Third set level.
That's a highlight reel rally, that
15
one.
up. Server leads 40 love, chase the last gallery. Game server, first game, third set.
So Chapman will have wanted Fahey to gift him an easy game like that in the last set. It wasn't forthcoming, surprisingly. And now it's showtime.
Love. Last gallery, 30 love. Last gallery. 30 love receiving. Last gallery. Receiver lead, better than second gallery. On the chase. Game receiver, 1 game to 2.
Fahey apologised for that, but I think he actually meant it, so who knows why. Probably for the audacity. So we're in again in a privileged position, and I'm introducing another co-commentator here, who is not an altogether unfamiliar voice on this forum. He kindly joined us during the World Championship earlier this year, and for those of us who could hear us during the eliminator between Chapman and Vagona.
Server
Royal
leads,
Tennis
30
Court.
love.
Lockie, Ducar,
Second
welcome.
gallery.
Hello, Jet.
Second gallery.
World.
Hello, world, yes.
There are 60 people listening. I don't know.
So hello to each of them individually then.
30 love, second
So what
gallery.
are you making of this?
Oh,
Seemed a little unfair, really.
Yeah.
I think Chappers has played exceptionally well and just. Here's a question for you, Lockie. Fahey is down. Maybe it's a big moment in the. No, he's alright.
He's back up.
I don't think I've seen Rob fall over it before. Well, for that reason.
Was that your question? Have I ever seen Rob fall over?
No, the question was about are points all created equal? I don't think they are.
Definitely
I don't-
not. Definitely not.
nearly
and
a
we
yard
know
wide.
this, obviously, but
I feel like, as you said, Chris has played very well, except when it mattered.
or not even that. Rob seems to focus so much of his mental and physical energy into the really what he knows are the really important points, and seemingly he seems to know that they're important before. We look at like a game at 4 or 30, or it's an important game, an important point, but he seems to know ahead of time what's going to be important.
I think they always turn out to be. They always turn out to be important when you win or you lose. And,
Sure.
So, I mean, Chappers had 2 set points in the first set, and at the end of it, it looked like Rob was always going to win it. But actually, it was really close. And he had 4-2 in that second set. And I thought he got passive, Chapman.
Yeah, he got sucked into a couple of sort of a number of messy points, and Rob took full advantage. He sort of managed to sort of shift Chapman off his game plan or his individual sort of situational plan.
Yeah, he made a few crucial errors, and I thought that he hardly dictated a
13
rally
last gallery.
from 4-2 in the second
I think
set.
that's right. There are a couple where he hit a force or whatever, and they stood out as him being assertive against a sort of a background of a degree of passivity.
Absolutely agree. I thought his giraffe's gone well, but he doesn't. He's also slightly short of a second serve.
Funny you mentioned that. Ben was talking about this bobble, which Ben observes he sort of comes across rather than hitting flat.
That's a good serve. Close one up.
Chase. Juice.
Yeah, I'd like to see him hit that bobble from a little wider and a little closer, rather than sort of gallery side and worse than 6. I'd like to see him main wall side and really outwards. Just give it a bit more loop
I think that's what Ben was alluding to. Yep.
and have it come up the penthouse more. And just be be deeper. Yeah. Let's have a look. I've been in the same galleries, I've been short, but I'd be interested to see it from up here actually, see if this is what I think. Yeah, he's not getting the full width of the penthouse.
For those who are observing, obviously, what Lockie's talking about is exploiting the full opportunity of getting the ball parallel to the back wall by using the width of the penthouse.
Well, it's never going to be parallel, but it's more parallel.
Closer to
He's
parallel.
hitting it, yeah.
Yep.
If it was higher on the penthouse, it'd come down straighter and just pushes Rob further back. If he volleys it, he'd be volleying it from deeper. If he
Service
takes off the back
advantage.
wall, he could
Chase
take it
5
deeper.
and 6.
Now, Lockie,
5
during
6.
sort of halfway through your playing days, or you were almost done really, weren't you? But halfway through your playing days, these Queen's penthouses were, what's the nicest way of saying it?
Lost the
Doctored
chase in the
slightly.
game. 2 games all.
To avoid
That old chestnut.
to make worse some of yours
Third
and
set.
Wayne Davies' serves, if I'm not incorrect.
I think it was mostly me, to be honest. But
First
You're to blame.
gallery.
So do you fancy these refurbed Queen's Penthouses.
Well, it's clearly taking the giraffe. You know, it's interesting. They both hit. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know what the audience is out there, but that's all right. They're both hitting quite a cut
15 up.
giraffe rather than a topspin. Hitting it sort of from the right-hand side of their body and coming and cutting under it rather than on the left-hand side of their body and hitting up the back of it with a bit of topspin.
Yep, that was a strange 6 foot miss by Fahey.
It's the same ball. I watched Chapman play against Vergona in that eliminator. And I also saw him play against Cam Riviere.
The Champions Trophy.
Yeah, Champions Trophy match.
World Tennis Court, yep.
I have to say, he seems a different animal. Looks a much better player than on either of those occasions.
I was contending the same thing to Ben, and
Serve leads 15 love.
he was
Chase.
unsure what I was saying. The results had come his way, and
First gallery.
I think that was a real marker in the ground for Chappers, that eliminator that he. The failures are important. You need the failures to work out where you're going wrong. And,
It is human, isn't it? We seem to take lessons. If we win, we think we've done it great, and if we lose, we kind of look at it and see why and try and change stuff. But
30-15.
and his follow return of serves definitely much more penetrating.
at least when he chooses to pull the trigger on you.
All
In white, the top gallery, please.
Not us.
Not us. Wasn't me.
That's you.
It's pure theatre when Rob mishits one. Couldn't possibly have been him as far as he's concerned. Oh wow, that's a genuine howler from somebody. There's a phone going off.
Really? What did I say at the start? That's you. First serve. No.
Big point. It's struggling hard to see Rob losing 3 sets in a row, not finding one, isn't it?
Lockie, you fundamentally misunderstood our role as commentators. We're supposed to tell everybody that the way that scoring is structured, that it's not over till it's over to the last point.
Well, should get Ben Taylor Matthews up here and explaining that after Saturday. I think Rob's playing quite a lot better than he did in the first set.
Yep.
He's quite sort
By
of,
3 games to 2.
there may have been the sort of energy expended in the semi-final and stuff, but he seems to have warmed up to me.
If I'm not wrong, then Chappers has had leads in each one of these sets.
Yep.
And he's just...
And probably
And
5-4 and 4-2.
And the scary thing is he hasn't really sort of frittered those leads. He's just seen them eroded.
Oh. He hasn't looked comfortable to me, really, at any stage in the rallies.
I agree.
He doesn't hit a shot and that he's going to be able to
15
deal
all.
with what's coming.
But just for those who
Yeah.
can't see us, which is nobody, had Ben Rawlinson glaring at us
15
as
all,
if
no
to make
chase.
his point about Chris Chapman's second set of bobbles.
Second gallery, 15 all.
No, once we've got beyond the first 2 or 3 points, there was a question I asked to Ben. It very much had the feel of Rob directing points. Sure, Chapper's winning and under enough of them, but that Rob's been sort of in charge of what's been going on.
He's not always in charge, but if Rob hits a good shot and then sort of skips to his position and he looks comfortable that'll be able to deal with what comes like that, he's expecting to deal with this. And even though he can't, he feels he will be able to in that instance. But Chapman, to me, almost no matter what shot he hits, he just never looks kind of in control of it.
I think that last point was a classic example.
Well, yeah, he was scrambling and hit a winner, but
Lockie, how would you describe that serve there?
that last one, it's sort of an undercut giraffe. I know you serve a lot of those, but I say I was disgusted. I was more of hitting up the back of it to the left-hand side of my body. So if you think about the arc of that swing,
Pushes the ball forward a little bit.
No, I'd be hitting it on the up.
Right.
Like the lowest point of my swing was before I hit the ball, whereas I feel like Chappie's hitting it, and Rob actually, both hitting it like just at the bottom, like just slightly on the way down rather than on the way up.
Yep.
And what that does, if you hit it on the way up, it gives it effectively top
40-30
spin.
receiver leads, second
But
gallery.
what that makes it do is bounce towards the back wall.
Yep.
So if it comes off the penthouse, it's still got a bit of that spin, it takes it tighter.
It's a great serve from Rob. He'll never go for a one bounce typically, but worked on that occasion.
I get the feeling Rob wants to serve the railroad, but just hasn't quite got the energy for it.
Do you know off the top of your head how many opens you won, Lockie?
No.
Did you know that if Rob triumphs here, this is 50 for him?
I did know that. That's ridiculous.
I wasn't mentioning it to big up him at all. I was only mentioning it in the context of the fact that a lot of people will know that Rob is 50 now, and obviously winning the 50th.
Yeah.
He's in his 51st year, so
It's
for the pedant out there.
more extraordinary than when he was one.
Exactly.
Oh.
He's got an open for every year of his life. No, but the greater point was that you've had an important birthday recently.
Yes.
So happy 50th to you
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
I need my 60 opens.
Well, you can say that now. We'll just make it up.
I'm not sure I played in 60 tournaments. Probably did.
Well, anyway,
It's an
many
extraordinary.
happy returns.
Thank you. It's an extraordinary feat of longevity by him. Now, I mean, it really is just a ridiculous man already. I stand here commentating and discussing the merits of what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong, where he's moving, and it's all insane.
Actually, funnily enough, he hasn't been in the final here for a good number of years. I think for 5 years.
Really, I'm
No.
astonished.
No,
Three
he's
games all.
What's happened to Cam? Is he's
3 games
still
all,
there?
in case you didn't. So yeah, Cam. Hello to Cam again, but we understand that Cam is still dealing with the full implications of Lyme's disease. Is it Lyme's or Lyme disease? Eh?
Lyme.
Yeah.
I think with a Y. No.
15 up.
This is more the sort of rally. Up to that point where he's lost control now, but
He had his second hand on the racket there.
he's done that quite a lot actually, that backhand volley. And he's a squash player more than a tennis player in his background, and I think that shows in his volleys. It's not quite.
Squash racket's quite heavy, so you need 2 hands.
No, it's just he's a slicey
Chase 5.
volleyer.
I jest.
I know. I'm very
Yeah.
impressed though. His volleying's really improved.
Just for the record, that Rob hasn't been in this final since 2012, and he didn't even win it that year.
Really?
Really? I know, against the backdrop of what we've been saying, yeah, it does seem extraordinary. But no, we had
What are those 50 opens he's won then?
Australian more than anything else. I think they're followed by French, including 8 of them consecutively. It might be worth pointing out, my esteemed previous co-commentator Ben Ronaldson pointed out that, yes, from 2011 backwards, he won 8 in a row.
After this is sort of boiling up to another close set, but yeah, we'll make a change if Chapman can close it out.
I'm going to take the audacious move of handing the mic over to somebody who's perfectly capable of running the
30 all.
important
Chase
side of things,
5.
asking you penetrating questions, Lucky. Back to Ben Ronson.
Back to this game.
It's another example of Rob being called out by a boast in some fashion. He doesn't miss that shot.
Well, you can't give him that trick, can you?
No,
That was
it's way too cute.
yeah.
It's quite low.
Second gallery.
Again, Rob's normally more in control of that high serve, but when he puts it in that low, Chris is always going to do something useful with it.
Oh, it's a good volley.
Yep, but it's also a good example of why. I mean, Rob struck that serve well, but it's just a one bounce off. It's just so hard to get across and intercept at the age of 50.
The age of anything.
The age of anything other than whatever Camden's age is.
Well, to be fair, that was also that volley was
Pretty crashing, yeah.
No, it's also 3 or 4 yards off the sidewall, so it could have been wider. In terms of trying to get it.
Service advantage. Chase the second gallery.
3 or 4 yards.
Well, 2 or 3 it was. It wasn't on the wall. It wasn't going floor side ball better than 2.
Juice.
He's always dangerous, isn't he? He's never any return a serve. It just oh, that's a change of tactics.
Oh, great game.
Well up. That's a good shot. This is where I feel he needs to keep the pressure on. Well played. That's a really well played point.
I mean, Chris's intensity levels for every shot he hits is just something to
Service
be admired,
advantage.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. He tries.
Let's take a look at the second serve bobble. The score is late in the third set. Cut bobble.
You got away with it, though. No, I don't know how he does that.
No, it's. I mean, you said it yourself. He got away with it.
Game
Yeah,
server.
that was a bad
Server
serve,
leads
but
4
Rob
games
didn't do
to
enough.
3.
So the score is 4 games to 3. It's a bit low. Again, just got to get that serve high.
I think you want to,
Along
with that giraffe, you want to live on the edge of
Yeah.
sort of good and fault rather than
Exactly.
good and short. That's short to me.
Just higher, longer, or miss.
Yeah.
Last gallery, 15 love.
Having said that, it's been a good serve for him.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're going to drop short occasionally, but oh, it could be good. Makes a big difference if you can get that back to Rob's backhand, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Server leads 15 love. Chase the last gallery.
So 52% of
Last
you
gallery.
thought Rob was going to win in 3 or 4 sets.
It's a Brexit size from Florida.
Not all of you realised you had to vote.
More than a yard worse than last gallery.
Pumping the fist.
40 love.
Definitely wants this game.
He just seems to have too much at the important times. He step up a little bit. Chapman moves a little bit. Gets a bit passive. It's probably one function of the other. But
Server, 4 games all.
now he's suddenly down the hazard end.
Time,
Makes a
please.
couple of mistakes. And if you just watch the rallies, Rob seems he discomforts him less. He's sort of he's not rushing around. He's not scrubbing in the corners.
It's tough. It's tough.
15 love.
It's tough, but it should have come back.
Passive is a strange term to apply to Chris Chapman, but I think I know exactly what you're saying.
Couple errors.
4
30
games
love.
all, 30 love server.
Oh, top.
It's nice to see some Australians doing well at this sport.
Yeah.
We've been missing that for the last 4 decades.
Yeah. It's a good shot. Be really interested to see how many railways Rob serves in this little passage. Cause
Yeah.
my instinct is it's sort of his go-to,
Rob wants two.
and he can see the finish line from here.
Yeah.
So
He's been busting him out.
yeah.
It's funny how flat Rob hits that demi pico. It's like he's just trying to be accurate. He's not trying to put a curl or anything. He's just hitting that flat to get it
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
near to the edge as possible. You've seen other pros in the past just kind of put a little bit aside, try and get a little bit of height to get the drop, but he's just punching it in there.
Well, if someone's not volleying it and it's not making the back wall,
Why not?
it's a great serve.
Yeah.
I mean, really, what can you do with it? It's just it's just a cut shot, and that's everything he wants from it, really.
Okay, it's less than a yard.
Less than a yard. Oh, it's a great drop.
Game receiver, 5 games to 4.
4-3 up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Chris was up in the set 4-3, up in the first set 5-4, up in the second set 4-2. I always think that
15
6-5 is close. 6-5, 6-5 is close. 6-5, 6-5, 6-5, that's 3 love.
Yeah.
And whilst Chappie's done a good job here, if he loses this set, he's basically got stuff 3-0.
Yeah. Oh, he's still going to walk away with his head held high.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
going
God,
to feel.
It's one of those. I
Front
was
bobble.
just in terms of whether he looked like winning this match. He's looked very competitive for 2 sets.
30 love.
Set points in the first set.
Well, he's looking good for 5-all here. 30 love up
Yep.
with the serve.
And it's amazing how it changes. If he wins this set, suddenly it is a do-it-all.
He's going to be mad about that one.
Yeah, it's a sort of great when it works. It's always a nuisance when it goes high, though. The grill shots, same dead on as well. It's great serve, back ball. Oh, that hurts.
And it hurts, but I think the backhand off the back wall here probably hurts more than everything else.
That's what I mean.
because,
That's what I mean. When
he hasn't been making that error today.
putting her half out the back wall at this stage wasn't great. Short.
Nope.
That's a great volley. What's the chase?
That was pretty small. First one was reasonable. Yeah, Chapman's actually throughout the course of this tournament has been calling balls down on himself. Everyone has a different opinion on that, but he's just a great sportsman in that regard.
Yeah, and maybe, you could argue both ways, but I'd say if that's how he's most comfortable,
Yeah.
apart from anything else, that's smart. 'Cause
30-15 receiver.
and he's not
Second
going to call
gallery.
many that the umpire or the ref's not going to call anyway.
Oh, he cheats horribly at important points.
Yeah, that's important.
That is not true. That's not true.
Again, it's a rally. Rob's right on top of it.
Incredible movement from Chris.
30 all, less than a yard.
He's getting close. Oh, there you go.
Kept himself in the match with that shot.
Yeah, I think that's
40-30.
right. Makes this one big. Great shot.
Quite a ballsy point from Chris.
I think it's a mistake hoping for. It's a mistake to be hoping for a mistake from Rob.
Yes.
Service advantage.
This is the first match point for Rob.
Shot.
That's a really interesting thing to happen there. I mean, Rob actually serves what looked like a lovely shaped railroad that ended up being incredibly loose. And then Chris, in an effort to stay really, really relaxed and calm with his footwork, almost fell over not reaching the ball twice. It's a really hard thing to battle, to try and stay relaxed and still move. And you could just see Chris's movement was excessively calm, followed by heavily laboured.
Yeah.
Advantage receiver. Chase
People usually
worse
feel
than
more
2.
calm defending match points than trying to win them.
Most of the top players electing to serve a giraffe on this kind of chase.
It's a good, like a good one. He's got a good one. It's going in. Oh, well
check.
left.
He would have hated himself.
Never
if he
is
did.
out. Another big point. Too much. This beloved ball. Fall back. Ooh. Rob Fahey, less than pleased with himself there. Uncharacteristic.
Service advantage.
He's riding himself as a horse.
Let's not go there.
It'd be a mistake to expect us. Mistake from that stage.
Yeah. That's something he hasn't done very well, defending that cut volley off the side wall.
I thought he did all right in the first set.
No,
It's kind of timing the
got a
distance.
few off the back wall, but not off the side wall, not the half volley.
Well, it's not a very natural shot for a squash player. You know, you
No.
never take the ball there. So
And it is the greatest cut volley in the history of the game, so. Second set point,
Receiver.
match point. That's a shocking shot. And there it is. Rob Fahey's first British Open for 8 years. 7 years. Very good. After back to our anchor man, Jed Eden.
Good job, Smith. Yes.
I think
Unfortunately,
Rob's
just,
suggesting he's done, and that's his last British Open. Thank you very much. He's been suggesting that for about 20 years now, so we're not buying it.
Well, if he retired on 50 Opens, so. There we go. Straight sets.
It's a
My
good match. It's a good match.
esteemed colleagues were saying that what they thought of a match that was ultimately that close, but when happened in straight sets. But I think plenty of kudos to Chapman there for for that effort. Great tournament, and
I better go because I think I'm meant to be down there. Thanks, guys.
so Ben Ronaldson leaves us in his official capacity. No, just a great shame, Lockie. I'd have to say that there wasn't one set in Chapper's pocket there for his efforts.
Yeah, I think that's sort of significant in a way, though. The first set he had set points in, which it could have been a completely different match if he'd won one of those. But I sort of think that it looked like for the rest of it, his belief in it sort of was drained by that.
Sure.
I think he at 4-2 in the second, when I thought again he had a real, he looked to be well in it. He just sort of be interesting to see the tape back, but the whole sort of tenor of the match changed there for me, and Rob was just suddenly just dominant, and he was being pushed around. Rob was pushing him around.
100%, yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. I can't get over the guy.
And Chappers is just in an entirely different position. That if he's got the first set in his pocket at 4-2 in that second, he can be as aggressive and kind of loose in it to a degree with what he's doing. It just that he's simply not in that situation where he's really trying to just get to parity and then build again as he was.
Yeah, and these things do sort of, they're on a knife edge always. It's always, always much closer than you think, and then it looks when someone's dominating. But
it'd be very interesting to look at a breakdown of the points and what have you in there, and have an analysis of where that match was won and lost. But I don't actually think it was about sort of the shortness of the chases that Rob was getting and versus those of Chappers. I think it really just, as we were saying before, was about really kind of measuring the small but important situations within games and sets, and the way that Rob has just gone about those over the last sort of 20 years, and again tonight.
Yeah, again. Well, he won the last 3 games of this set, and won the last 4 games of the second set. And
so he
last
just saved us a lot of time if he just was in the same mode at the beginning of the set, right?
Well, I don't know. It's just he's hard, right? He's a good player. It's just it's one thing to get into a set with him. It's another thing to win it. And I think that Chris is good enough to get into it, but I didn't even. Honestly, after the first set, he never looked like winning a set to me.
Yeah, it was pretty close to that.
Anyway, good fun, good to watch.
Nice big crowd out there, bigger than we've had in previous years, seemingly. They've been a bit more insistent on people coming on court and making it not seem like it's the presentation group and that being it. But I think both of these players have a huge amount of support. Obviously, Australian or not, they're both based in this country now, and it makes sense that there's a lot of people out there. Lockie, thank you for your time. I'm sure we're about to just get a speech, so you'll. I don't know if they've got a microphone or not, but you'll thank us not to talk over them. So
go down and enjoy that.
Lockie, do we get to see you tomorrow night? Hopefully.
No, I doubt that. But
great
thank you.
Okay, mate. Cheers.
Good night.
I'd like to be able to tell you who was being thanked there. Maybe this.
From the office, from Andrea, Chris, and a huge team of volunteers. Thank you very much indeed, all of you, for everything you do to make this work.
Thank you to the volunteers. To make the tournament happen.
You think that's going to work? Which comes for me as no surprise because we have the A team running the event. I know you're here, Ben. Where are you? Ben Rawlinson. Ben and Alistair, our tournament directors. This, I don't know, I guess you guys don't get an awful lot of sleep for a fortnight, and we're very grateful. It's much appreciated, and I know you, the pros and everyone participating feels very safe in your hands as we do. So thank you both. As the chairman of the T&RA, it's a source of some disappointment to me to see this tournament being competed in the final by two people not native to these shores. But it is a huge pleasure to see them both being supported passionately by intensely enthusiastic and partisan crowds who have taken both of the players to their hearts. And all of you who know these guys know why the members, the players, have taken them to their hearts. And we're really grateful and proud to have you here competing in the final. I do have a word of complaint, though, because I know everyone was looking forward to a 4-hour marathon. And Rob, I'm sorry, you've cheated us all of another good couple of hours of sweat, but you may have a motive behind ensuring that was not the case. So it was a magnificent match. The quality of stroke play, the quality of retrieving, and it left the galleries breathless a lot of the time. And I would like to, therefore, first of all, offer our commiserations and congratulations to Chris. Another open final, and hopefully see you in many more.
Firstly, thanks to everyone who supported this week, particularly the RTC crowd that I've had come down all week. It's nice. I get about 3 or 4 home tournaments a year with the Australian Open, the British Open, Champions Trophy, so it's great to have that support. Mainly, thank you to my team, Carly, and my son Will in particular. Carly's done a mountain of work this week under duress with a bit of tonsillitis, so thanks, hon. To Nick, Josh, Les, my team at RTC, Steve Hunt, Gareth Shelbourne, a couple others who helped me compete and prepare. But I also want to congratulate Rob. I can't quite see him. There he is. 11 years ago, I was sold on the idea of coming across from squash to play the game of real tennis because you could play until you're about 40. So, firstly, congratulations on a 50th Open title. It's an amazing feat. Rob took me under his wing for a couple of years with some World Championship practice and things. But I'm pretty sure the first time we ever stepped on court in Melbourne, the club charged him a court fee to have a hit with me when I was about a month into playing the game. So I would like to thank Rob for helping me along the way as well. Thank you.
Before we get Rob up here for the trophy, there's one more thank you. It was great to see the abuse being heaped on the marker tonight, which shows the immense affection and respect that Andrew is held in. So we have a small thank you, Drew. I think Chris has stolen almost everything I wanted to say about Rob, but I know that the majority of the audience are slightly older even than Rob, and you, well, certainly I am, but to achieve those playing levels and that intensity and passion on top of consummate skill and sportsmanship, I think it was wonderful to see both players applauding their opponents, calling the ball down on themselves and playing the game in the way that we wanted to see, and I'd like to thank both players for doing so. And it's my pleasure to congratulate and present Rob with his 50th Open title.
You'd think after 50 of these I'd be getting good at it, but I managed to forget nearly everybody that I want to thank. We have 4 benefactors this week, and Chapman and I played some tennis with 3 of them earlier in the week. So I know they don't want to be mentioned, but thank you to those guys. You've got us out of a great hole, and we really appreciate that level of support. That's amazing. Thank you. Been quite a while since I've held that one. 2011, I last won this. Been some pretty decent players in the meantime. But I think probably the question I've been asked most in real tennis is, what's your favorite court? And I think after 2018, after being Bryn here in an epic battle, winning the World Championship, and picking up title number 50, I've got to go with Queens. Chapman's alluded to earlier, fantastic team behind me as well. I don't know how you do it. That wasn't very good. I'm trying to say that again. What you do is amazing for us. Thank you. Forget more than I've remembered, but that's okay. Thank you all for playing, for coming. I think a few of you were playing every point as well, but probably not everybody. And congratulations to Chappers. It won't be the last time you're out here, and I look forward to the day when you're picking up the big trophy. Hopefully I'm not on the other end. And thank you all. Thank you all.
So everything's concluded there. Great match, worth re-watching, and we'll see you here tomorrow night for the British Open doubles final. As we mentioned earlier, Rob Fahey and Nikki Howe, who whatever seed, I'm sorry I don't know, versus Chris Chapman, tonight's unfortunate runner-up, and his partner Steve Laguna. So that'll be another great if all-Australian encounter tomorrow evening. Starting at 6 p.m. here British time. Look forward to talking at you then. Good night all.